voters. I welcome you all here this evening. I want to thank the town of Goshen for hosting us, and especially the Park and Rec Department that helped us with the sound and setting up the room. I would ask that you put your phones on silent right now. And in addition to the thanks that we're giving out, we also want to offer an apology to anybody that is celebrating Yom Kippur this evening. It was a total oversight on the league's part that we scheduled this for this evening. By the time we found out about it, it was too late to reschedule. We've adjusted our planning calendar so that Jewish holidays will be flagged in the future, but for this year, we really apologize to anybody that's at temple or home celebrating this evening. So a little bit about the league. 1930. 1930 is when the 19th Amendment passed, and that is when women, for the first time in our country, were able to vote in federal elections. 1930. 1930, or 1920. I knew that, 1920. It's good to have friends. It's good to have friends.
We got the
1920.
prohibition.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what I'm thinking about, having a drink. But 1920 is also the year that the League of Women Voters was established as a national organization. And it is no coincidence those two things happened that year. It was the women that were advocating for and lobbying to have the 19th Amendment ratified, and when they knew that was coming down the pike, they just pivoted to starting to register voters and to make sure those voters were informed participants in their democracy. And today, 105 years later, same goal. That's our club. We are a nonpartisan political organization. Nonpartisan meaning we do not endorse candidates. Political. We do have positions on issues. We do studies, we get consensus, and then we do, just like with the 19th Amendment, we advocate and we lobby for legislation that we think is important. So with that, I would like to turn the evening over to our lead trained moderator, Patty Amaguchi.
Thank you, Denise. All right, well, welcome. My name is Patty Hamaguchi, and as you know, I'm your moderator for this evening. Can everyone hear okay? Is that nice? Okay, good. Just a point of information for you. I am not a resident of Goshen, and I'm an unaffiliated voter, but I am a proud member of the League of Women Voters. So anyway, first of all, I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your very busy lives to come here this evening. To listen to the information by our two candidates here for First Selectman of Goshen, Mr. Seth Burkell and Mr. Todd Carasillo. Tonight's candidates are running for the office of First Selectman, as you know, and I really want us to be appreciative of the fact that what they're doing is not easy. Running for office and then holding office is a very huge commitment of their time, and it can be very rewarding, but it can also be filled with stress and sacrifices that people often never see. So without the willingness of these candidates to dedicate the next 2 years of their lives to work on your behalf, Goshen would not be able to function. So please know, Mr. Carasillo and Mr. Burkell, that your participation in this election is much appreciated by all of us here. And add to that, the very fact that you both took the time to come here tonight, something that not all candidates in all races are willing to do, speaks very well of your willingness to share your ideas and your goals with our audience so they can make an informed decision and their voting choices. We really do appreciate that. So there are important guidelines for you as the audience members that I would like to review before we begin. The most important job you have as the audience is to please hold your applause after the candidates have answered their questions. No comments, no remarks, no shouting, no loud groans, no loud sighs, no breathing. No, I'm only kidding. But no whistling, nothing, no gestures. We're going to be a very polite, civil, respectful audience, and we're just going to hold our applause, and I will let you know at the end of the debate when you can applaud for both candidates, okay? Because this is not a debate. This is not a traditional debate. This is a forum. This is an informational forum. There's no winners. There's no losers. We are, in fact, winners by virtue of the fact that we get information that we need in order to make an informed voting choice. So let's talk a little bit about the format of this evening so you understand. The candidates have not been given the questions in advance. We've received quite a few questions, way more than we'll ever get to this evening. So what we've done is sort of consolidate them and phrase them in a way to include as many of the questions as we can, depending on the level of interest, right? So the format is such that each candidate has a total of 20 minutes for the evening to talk. So it's not like 2 minutes and 2 minutes. It's a total of 20 minutes. And our timers here in the front row will be letting the candidates know throughout the evening how many minutes remain in their 20 minutes allotted. At the end of 20 minutes, for whoever runs out first, we will stop, and then the other candidate will have the option to have another question posed. Or they can say, no, I'm good, and then we will go to the closing statements. The closing statements are after the 20-minute period, and they are for 2 minutes. At the conclusion of all of that, I will talk to you again. I will let you know when you can clap. And then at the end of the evening, both Mr. Raquel and Mr. Carasillo will stay around and chat with anyone who has any further questions. All right, are there any questions before we start? All right, with that, I'm going to start with the first question. We did have a coin toss before we began, and Mr. Raquel won the coin toss and opted to go second. So we will begin with Mr. Carasillo today. First question is, please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for the position of First Selectman.
All right. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and seeing the questionnaire between Seth and I. But, 4 years ago, when the Republican Party came to see me and asked me if I wanted to run, I said I would throw my hat in the ring, and I did run. The reason I did run is because I love my town. I mean, I've been here for 44 years. I came here when I was 19 years old, and I bought 46 acres of land. And I worked hard as a city employee, a state employee to get where I am today. And I've been a broker for the last 24 years, and for the last 4 years, I've been your first selectman. But, the first selectman's job, there is a lot of pressure. I mean, there's questions that come in every day from residents. There's things you have to deal with, state reporting, all kinds of things, But I really enjoy the work. I know Steph would enjoy the work. We're both after the same position, but I'm here because I love my town. Also, I'm a taxpayer. Okay, so I like to keep the taxes low. I'm going to continue to fight to keep the taxes low, and make sure our kids are educated, our roads are plowed, and our power is on. And that's what I do every day for the last 4 years. So that's about it. I just continue to do what I have to do to make this town run in the right direction.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carasillo. This question goes to Mr. Raquel. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for this position.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me here tonight. So if anybody doesn't know me, obviously my name is Seth Raquel. I'm running for First Selectman for the town of Goshen, and I've also lived here all my life. I was born here and I've lived here all my life. The main reason I'm running for First Selectman in the town of Goshen is I think Goshen, in its bones, I guess, fiscally and otherwise, is doing well. But just in the past few years, I've just seen kind of a decline in the kind of the culture and the climate and the way things are become divisive and contentious in the town of Goshen. And I just don't think that lends itself well to moving us forward in anything really. And that was the main reason I decided to run for the position of first selectman. It started back a couple of years ago with some of the issues we had with 190 Sharon Turnpike. If you're not familiar, that's the piece of property across the street from the firehouse. I was the chairman of the building committee there, and that was problematic, I guess, the way we handled that particular issue. And then going forward, there's just over and over, there's just issues of just, again, culture, climate, divisiveness, and I think that, I'd like to try to change that.
All right, thank you very much. The next question goes back to you, Mr. Burkell, since we started with Mr. Carasillo for question 1. It goes to you for question 2. For this question, what is your position on speed cameras, particularly in areas that are noted for speeding and tailgating by speeders, such as Route 63?
So I'm not a big proponent of the speed cameras. Matter of fact, I'm not a proponent at all. I think they're problematic. I think they've got issues with the third-party administration of the speed cameras are also the people that issue the tickets. So I think there's a monetary incentive to issue more tickets. There's been articles in the paper about the accuracy of the cameras with vehicles that have been issued tickets, school buses in particular, that doesn't match up with the GPS that's installed on the school buses. There's different, I'm not sure what it is. I want to say the Sixth Amendment, but I could be wrong on that, about, it's not a criminal penalty, obviously, it's a civil penalty, but the right to face your accuser, let's say, with that clause in the Constitution. And you get a picture of a license plate with a ticket attached to it. They don't know if you're driving the car, your son is driving the car, your neighbor stole the car. I'm just not a big proponent of any option of those speed cameras in town.
All right, thank you, Mr. Burkell. Mr. Carasillo, same question.
Well, I got mixed feelings about speed cameras. Are they going to be good for our residents, or are they going to be just an income producing source for the town? Washington tried it, and if you follow the documents for the speed cameras and the regulations, the monies that come in can be used for infrastructure. If it's paving of roads, chip sealing, signage, all those things that, sidewalks, culvert pipes, anything that's near the roads or around the roads, the money can be used to it. If we put speed cameras in, we can take that burden of taxing our taxpayers, monies to fix these roads if people speeding through our town are paying the ticket. But the people that live in town, even if we had them, people in town are going to know where they are, because Goshen Chatter next door are going to say, hey, the first selectman put them on Beach Street. So nobody's going to go fast on Beach Street. Honestly, we could probably pave every road in Goshen just with the cameras in front of my office. That's how fast the trucks and the cars go past my office on 42 North Street. But there's a lot of people out there that don't want them. They talk to me about it, and they said they don't want speed cameras because they have children and they don't want the children to get marks on their license. We don't need speed cameras. So I'm on the fence, but as of right now, are they good? If they're working right and they came a long way, we could get income to do work on our infrastructure, or and just keep them on the main roads, 63 and 4, where all the speeding is. I mean, people traveling through our town are speeding through our town, and we keep them off the side roads where all the residents travel. So, I'm up in the air, but as of right now, it's a dead issue, and that's about it.
Thank you very much. And I'm still going to send this question back to you, Mr. Carasillo, since he had the question first. The next question is, can you speak to the need for affordable housing in Goshen, and what actions, if any, would you take towards filling this need?
Well, under 8-30G, we have to have an affordable housing plan. We already have a complex in town owned by the Goshen Housing Trust, which has, I believe, 18 units, but they have 23 acres of land there. And I know in the future, as they continue to remodel these units, they're going to probably hopefully expand someday. Are they going to bring more affordable housing and or affordable rents in there to keep our young people in town? I hope so, because I hate to see our young people, grow up here and you can't afford here, so they have to move out of town. So, I mean, right now, we don't have infrastructure for another set of units going up somewhere in town because we don't have any water and sewer. So right now, I believe the Housing Trust has the acreage, and hopefully in the future, they take care of those issues of affordable housing.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Brickell, same question.
Could you just repeat the
Yes,
question? one more?
I'm happy to. Anytime you guys want me to repeat it, just holler. Can you speak to the need for affordable housing in Goshen, and what actions, if any, would you take towards filling this need?
Sure. So I think Goshen, just like any other town in Connecticut, definitely needs affordable housing, not just for young families, trying to stay in Goshen, but also for its senior population that's also trying to stay in Goshen, perhaps downsize or whatever the case may be. I do share Todd's concern that Goshen doesn't have water and we don't have sewer, so that puts a burden on our soils and stuff like that, which you probably know are poor for the most part in Goshen to accommodate large septic systems for more than one or maybe 2 unit, I guess complex, if you will. Statutorily, I'm not up to speed, I guess, as much as Todd would be on the requirements from the state of Connecticut, but I do think that it's imperative that Goshen ourselves take care of our affordable housing needs without any input or demands, I guess, from the state. I think it's imperative that we control our own future and our own affordable housing.
Thank you very much. I'm going to follow this up with a few other questions because we did have quite an interest in affordable housing for this particular forum. So I'm going to follow that up with a few more questions related to this topic. How do we balance the need for affordable housing and the increase of short-term rentals like Airbnbs in our community? So this is specifically speaking about Airbnbs and short-term rentals, and it goes to you, Mr. Brickell.
So is the question, am I in favor of Airbnbs? Is that what we're?
Well, how do we balance the need for affordable housing and the increase of short-term rentals like Airbnbs? So you can answer it any way you like.
Okay, I'm not sure. So I know there's been an increase in concerns, I guess, with Airbnbs and short-term rentals and stuff like that. And I know some towns have taken steps to limit them or even eliminate them in certain areas of towns, stuff like that. So how you balance that with Goshen, I don't know. I'm not a big proponent of telling people what they can do with their own property. And I guess the short-term rentals and the Airbnbs would limit some potential for affordable housing otherwise. But I don't really necessarily see the correlation between the two, I guess.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Carasillo. Absolutely. How do we balance the need for affordable housing and the increase of short-term rentals like Airbnbs in our community?
Well, the short-term rentals, sorry about that. The short-term rentals, like Airbnbs, I know most of them are around the lakes. And they're out there and they are being advertised. And I know our assessor is taxing people on their Airbnbs because they're making income on those. Like Steph said, I don't know where it comes from with affordable housing because Airbnb and waterfront, the renting for $30,000 on Woodridge Lake is not affordable to most people. So, but our affordable housing needs, we need, I hate using the term affordable. I like using the word workforce housing or senior housing. But we do need it. I mean, I don't want to see all three of my kids moved out of town. And I know probably some people here in town, their kids moved out of town because there's nothing affordable. So we do need it. And like I said in the last question, right now the only facility is in the center of town at the Goshen Housing Trust, and until we have better infrastructure and water and sewer, I don't think we're going to have another complex somewhere soon because, like Seth said, our soils are quite tough to deal with.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Carasillo. And I promise this is the last question on affordable housing, but we did get quite a few, so I boiled it down to 3. As first selectman, would you allow the Affordable Housing Committee to take funds allocated for the Title 67 Land Acquisition Fund?
Well, the Land Acquisition Fund, which is Title 67, could be used for recreation, housing, and open space. Right now, we don't have any other housing. If the Goshen Housing Trust came to the first selectman and said, that money could be used for housing, we are willing to pay a certain interest rate, which is better than what you're getting in the bank. It would have to be brought to a town meeting and let the residents of the town decide if we're going to let them, or if they need to go to the Housing Trust, another 501c3 entity that's in town that's build another complex. Well, we don't have any, so they're the only ones. And if they came and said, hey, we're going to pay 5 or 6%, we're only making 4%. I think it's a home run to I guess loan out the money.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Brickell. This is for you.
I'm not so sure about that. I think, so yeah, Title 67, as we all know, is for recreation and housing and open space. Our available housing is limited. Our potential available housing, I think, is also limited. But I think it would be imperative on the Goshen Housing Trust or whatever the entity may be that wants that money to put together a plan and a proposal that outlines exactly what they're going to do with the money, what they're going to build, the type of infrastructure they're going to have, the impact that infrastructure would have on our town services, fire company, public works, et cetera. And then, they would have to present the plan to us, regardless of the interest rate or whatever. And then, again, as first selectman, I don't get to make that decision. I would have to go to a town meeting and let the residents decide. But I think they would have to have a clear, concise, and rather detailed plan, I think, to give to the townspeople.
Thank you very much. And this question again goes to Mr. Brickell. What do you see as the role of the newly formed Ethics Committee? And will the outcome of that committee's recommendations be approved through a referendum or vote by the Board of Selectmen?
Well, the role of the Ethics Committee, I think, is to develop a code of ethics, is my understanding, for the town of Goshen. Whether or not that's adopted officially, I don't know. Who's not for a code of ethics, right? Just on its face, it's good, right? But I think if you get into an actual code of ethics with potential penalties for violations or stuff like that, I don't know. I think you get into a lot of potential legal issues and stuff that maybe we're not quite ready to deal with just yet for a little town of 3,100-ish people in Goshen. I think that might be something for larger cities and communities with multiple town councils and boards and stuff like that. But on its face, it sounds good. I just don't know how you would necessarily implement it without opening a whole other can of worms.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Carasillo?
Yes, we do have a Code of Ethics Committee, and if they develop a Code of Ethics, it would come to the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen would vote on it, and hopefully approve the code. But before probably we even make a vote, we would probably send it to the town council, since we have a new one now, to have him go through it and make sure there's no different legalities in there that's gonna cause the town any problems. But, you know, I know there was some concerns with other boilerplate code of ethics that came across our table and that we read, and, you know, some were, does the town or does the code of ethics committee have the right to go through financials and stuff like that, you know? I don't think those part of the code of ethics that were produced by other towns would be favorable for the town of Goshen. I mean, it's not like people on boards and committees are dealing with funds. I mean, if you were talking about a code of ethics for, you know, the town treasurer, tax collector, and you know, in that little part of going through their bank accounts and what have you to make sure there's no embezzlement, that's one thing that would probably just cover those people. But it will have to go to a town meeting for a vote to make it an ordinance or a policy in town.
Thank you very much. This question goes back to you, Mr. Carasillo. Keep that microphone. All right. What do you feel is the role of the first selectman in relation to the library board and the library director?
Repeat that one more time.
What do you feel is the role of the first selectman in relation to the library board and the library director?
All right, well, the first selectman is the CEO of the town, and the library board right now is the immediate supervisor of the library director. So, but I am the HR also in town, and I have a responsibility to protect my staff and, you know, the staff of the library. That's the way my feelings are about my roles there. I'm administrative supervisor, and the library board is the immediate supervisor.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Brickell, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you feel is the role of the first selectman in relation to the library board and the library director?
Well, like Todd said, so the first selectman is the CEO for the town of Goshen, right? But as in regards to the library board or any other board or committee for that matter, you know, the first selectman is a member of every one of those boards, a non-voting member. In regards to the library board, library director, I think if in general, if you let the boards of the library board, you know, manage the library and the library director, and then if there's issues, that would come to the first selectman as the HR compliance person or whatever you'd like to call it. And then there's a discussion that takes place about whatever the particular issue is. It doesn't have to be a bad issue. It could be good. Maybe they want to give somebody a raise, right? And then the first selectman should then go back and come up with his plan of action to whatever the case may be, and bring that back to the library board. And then it's discussed and made as a board decision. And then the library board carries out its authority over the library director or whoever the particular employee is that they're talking about to implement whatever that decision was.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Brickell. Next question goes back to you again. Do you have any new ideas to expand the tax base here in Goshen?
To expand the tax base in Goshen, the tax base in Goshen is probably going to be somewhat limited. So there's a lot of home-based business in Goshen. There is some, you know, brick and mortar business in Goshen, but there's not a lot, and you know, a lot of them are construction companies, for instance, but there's not a lot of construction, particularly commercial construction, all that goes on in Goshen. So a lot of people want to live in Goshen. A lot of people aren't able to work in Goshen. So expanding the tax base, I think, would be more a function of attracting more people to Goshen to buy or build homes in Goshen, and you know, achieving your tax base through home ownership rather than in a particular business.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Carasilla, would you like me to repeat the question, or? Do you have any new ideas to expand the tax base here in Goshen?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on in Goshen right now. There's 36 brand-new homes being built in Goshen, and 5 of them are waterfronts, and the rest are maybe second tier or around the town. So there's $395,000 in new taxes coming in to the town of Goshen. So commercial-wise, there's 60, let me put it this way, there's 60 commercial dumpsters that the town of Goshen pays tipping fees on. So there is businesses in town besides the plazas and the Torrington Country Club and, where the Goshen spirits are. The only way you're going to attract new business is if lands that are on 63 and 4 within the commercial zone get sold off and the zoning is changed so we can hopefully bring new businesses in. So until that happens, or infrastructure, bring water and sewer in from, if it's Torrington or if it's tied into Litchfield, or if Woodridge Lakes builds such a hell of a new sewer plant down there that other people will be able to tie in, that's the only way it's going to happen. But right now, like Steph said, there's not too much commercial space available, and what we have is, what we have to deal with right now. So it is a sleeping town. People come here and they work somewhere else, and until the land is all sold off and there's no more houses going up, I think we're going to be in stalemate.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Carasilla. I'm going to send this question to you again. What personal qualities do you feel are most important for someone to be an effective and respected first selectman?
First of all, you got to have good work ethics. You got to have good integrity. You have to have patience. Patience is number one. You have to be able to communicate with all the residents. You have to be able to communicate at meetings, at different functions around the state with other first selectmen and mayors throughout the COG, cost, and other meetings. But the biggest thing is patience and the knowledge of the town and the people in the town.
Thank you very much. Mr. Raquel, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
What personal qualities do you feel are most important for someone to be an effective and respected first selectman?
Well, I think one of the most important qualities you need to have is that everybody who's a constituent of yours or a resident of the town of Goshen needs to have a certain level of comfort that their needs or concerns are going to be addressed, whether or not they feel that you necessarily agree with their concerns or problems or whatever they may be. So it's important that everyone feels like they're well represented, right? And that they're also going to get a fair shake on whatever their particular issue might be. I also think it's important to be a strong leader, that you can effectively take your boards and commissions and employees and fire company volunteers and whatever the case may be, whoever those people are that work for the town of Goshen in a broad encompassing, work for the town of Goshen. That they feel that they're going to be well represented, they're going to be well led, you're going to give them a good plan to be successful in the town of Goshen, and they're going to be able to execute that plan to your satisfaction. And if they have trouble executing that plan, they can fall back and rely on you to help them move forward with that and to achieve whatever goals we have set together as the first selectman and employees of the town of Goshen.
Thank you very much. Keep the mic. Thanks. One goes to you. The town has been financially supportive over the past years of Goshen's lakes, which has been crucial for their continued health and vitality. What is your stand on this issue? Would you continue to recommend financially supporting Goshen's lakes?
Yes, I would. Obviously, the lakes are important to the town of Goshen. If for nothing else, for the tax base of the people that live on those lakes, right? The more those property values increase, the more tax revenue we get from the town of Goshen. So strictly from a business standpoint, I guess you could just say that's kind of a no-brainer. However, I do feel it's important for ecologically and environmentally to keep our quality of our lakes. And I know, last year some of those funds were cut substantially from the lakes, but I think everybody got their funds cut last year, so they're not alone in that. But obviously, it's imperative to keep all those watersheds and wetlands and lakes and our ecosystem healthy.
All right. Mr. Karasula?
Yeah, I'm in big support of protecting our lakes and giving to the lakes. Besides being the first selectman, I'm a real estate broker. And when somebody comes into town and wants to buy a lakefront house, they don't want to buy a lakefront house that has lily pads and weeds in it. So our $15,000 per lake is, honestly, it's not a lot of money to protect our waters and protect our grand list. And the numbers, our grand list goes up, with the cost of the homes going up. So, but last year, I believe, was the first year that we gave to Dog Pond, and we gave to Tyler and Westside. But 3 years ago, it started out was I got a grant for the Friends of Dog Pond. I got them $9,500 to help them with that weed control. So I've been working hard to protect the lakes because, like I said, it will help our grand list. It keeps their values up, and our grand list is going to continue to stay strong. If you take care of the lakes. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Next question goes to Mr. Carasolo again. Can you describe your communication style and how would you strengthen communication and respect within town agencies, boards, and commissions?
I believe I'm the most pleasant person in town, but I think I handle everything well. Our town hall runs very, very smooth. Is there a few boards that are a little tougher than others? Yes. And there's a few boards that run really, really smooth. So sometimes, you have to make some comments to keep things under control. And, but I do handle everything. I do take care of the boards. I take care of, I make sure everybody is, all their agendas are in and everything is running smoothly. So all the meetings go smoothly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Question, would you like to repeat it, Mr. Burkett? Okay. Can you describe your communication style and how would you strengthen communication and respect within town agencies, boards, and commissions?
Well, aside from the fact that I actually am the most pleasant person in Goshen, I think my communication style it's pretty easygoing. I'm a good listener. I respect all my when I was in business, all my employees, all our subcontractors, all the other contractors we work with, and we're able to by being able to do that, we've been able to take some really difficult situations and turn them into positives and so forth. So my communication style, it's easy. It's easy to get across what your point is. It's easy for me to get across back to you what my point is. And it's easy for me to work together with people and whatever the situation may be to come to a, mutually reasonably agreeable outcome.
Thank you very much. And this question will go back to you as well. What is your position on continuing to push for a forensic audit of both the Region 6 and Region 20 budget spending?
So for Region 6 and Region 20, I think the push for a forensic audit is not, I don't see the necessity for a forensic audit. I don't think you're going to find anything there. I think money was misspent or not wisely spent. I think, that's fairly obvious in some cases. It's probably not quite as obvious in some of the things that it was spent on that was actually needed. But I think the term forensic audit, I think someone's looking for something nefarious to have happened, right? And that just didn't happen. That's the way it went. So to spend $100,000 plus, I think on the low end was maybe $150,000. I think was one of the numbers I heard for the low end of the budget. I just don't see the return on spending $150,000 of money that we're already, financially, I don't want to say we're financially strapped, but we need to be financially careful for sure going forward. And it's just not a wise expenditure in my opinion.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Carasillo, same question.
Well, Friends of the Audit takes the three towns, Warren, Morris, and Goshen, to agree on doing a forensic audit. And, I was all for a forensic audit when I saw the amount of monies that were misused, misplaced, and overspent. I mean, with 4 years of pension monies that disappeared, that were spent somewhere else, nobody could give us answers of where that money was spent. And now with Region 20, we can't even do an audit yet, because their first year just ended. So their auditors didn't even get to audit their own books. So we won't be able to do Region 20's audit until probably after December of this coming year. But, Steph made some good points there. Are we going to find anything? $150,000 divided by 3 towns. Are we going to find something that's going to, it'd be favorable? What are you going to do? You're not going to do anything to the school district for overspending or, unless there's some criminal activity. We don't know if there's any criminal activity. Even the auditor that did the audit thinks there should have been a forensic audit, but you have to have all 3 towns agree on it. And Goshen was the only one that wanted to do a forensic audit. Morris and Warren did not want to do it. So, and now, you can see even Litchfield voted it down to doing a forensic audit in Litchfield for their school district. So, right now, I think it's a dead point, and we just have to hopefully the school district is more transparent with us, and which they are, and hopefully everything starts to smooth out.
Thank you so much. We had quite a few questions regarding the school district, so I'm going to give you another one on the tail of that to follow up. Considering the financial situation presented by the Region 20 merger, going forward, how will you ensure that the educational needs of our students are balanced with the other needs of the town? That goes to you, Mr. Carasillo.
Repeat that one more time.
Sure.
I thought you were looking at it.
No, sure. Considering the financial situation presented by the Region 20 merger, going forward, how will you ensure that the educational needs of our students are balanced with the other needs of the town?
Well, this last budget, first of all, last year's budget was under budgeted, and this year's budget came in a little bit higher than 42,720, I believe it was, 42,720,000. I think it was more like 43 and change. I honestly thought that, that 43 number was probably the right number to get everything they needed, everything that they, should have had to run a school district. But, it did come in at 42.7. As of right now, speaking with the superintendent, they hired a new auditor, and it's $20,000 more than last year's auditor. So right now, they're already $20,000 in the hole. So I need them to come back and tell us that, why is this happening? You budget it, you can't keep on going over budget. You have to stay within the budget. And we just want to make sure there's money there to give our kids the best education and not have any waste. That's all I want. And I don't want to see programs cut. I didn't want to see sports programs cut. I didn't want to see the rowing cut. I didn't want to see the capital cut because, there was $1 million in capital. It's in a 5-year plan, $1 million per year. So, they cut it down to $700,000. You just can't cut $300,000, not when you have that many schools. Because what are you going to do? When a boiler breaks, you come back to the town and say, hey, the boiler's $80,000, we need another $80,000, come back to the taxpayers? You just can't do it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Raquel, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yeah, please.
All right. Considering the financial situation presented by the Region 20 merger going forward, how will you ensure that the educational needs of our students are balanced with the other needs of the town?
Well, so everybody knows that our education budget is roughly 70% of the entire town of Goshen's budget. So it's obviously a big number, but it's also an important number. It's probably the most important number. I think that Region 20 obviously had some growing pains. I don't think there's any discussion on that, no matter what side of the fence you're on the Region 20 thing. But I think they've gone, out of their way. I think they've grown by leaps and bounds they've hired a new superintendent who by everything I've observed anyway, I think is doing a bang up job. They've hired a new CFO. They've put in place all kinds of guardrails to prevent what happened during the startup of Region 20 to happen again or continue happening. And just to speak to for a second on the Region 20 auditor being $20,000 over budget, I think there's a good case to be made that that they've been paying late. They've been having a hard time collecting money. So and then all four of the towns have been having a hard time giving them the money that we all voted to give them. So it would stand to reason that a lot of vendors and contractors and stuff would either increase their pricing or not bid at all, just because they're trying to hedge their bets against not being paid or not being paid for 120 or 150 days or a year in some cases. So I think once Region 20 gets the reputation that it deserves, that they're financially responsible, they're going to pay their vendors, they're going to educate our kids well, I think you could see probably a lot of those maybe unintentional over budgeting items go away.
All right, thank you very much. And this stays with you, Mr. Raquel. What role do you think civility and respectful dialogue should play in how our town boards operate? And how would you personally model these values as first selectman?
Well, it's critical. I think anybody that's paid attention over the last few years to some of our town, or not town meeting, board meetings and stuff like that, it's obvious we have an issue there, right, with civility, discourse, again, culture and climate of the town. As far as the first selectman goes, I think it's incumbent upon them to take that leadership role, to sit in on those meetings, particularly the ones that tend to be more difficult, and monitor those meetings and keep those meetings, I guess we'll say civil, because quite frankly, some of them have not been over the years. The other thing is I think, I know it's happened to me when I was on the Board of Fire Commissioners, and I think it's happened to almost everybody. When you're elected or appointed to one of these boards, that's it. They say, oh, by the way, you're the fire commissioner. It starts in November. I said, okay, there's no letter of introduction or meet with a selectman or meet with another board and say, hey, this is what your role is. This is what we expect of you. This is how you're expected to conduct those meetings. I think one of the things that I would like to do, or I will do, is any new board member, commission member, whatever, one of their first tasks or items would be to come to my office and sit down with me, and then I can explain to them exactly what's expected of them as far as their discourse in the meetings, the way their meetings are conducted, if they're the chairman or if they're a board member or otherwise, and give them, I don't know if it necessarily has to be a written policy, but at least some sort of reasonable list of expectations that's expected of people, how to conduct themselves, how the meetings are conducted, Robert's rules, so forth, and give them a chance to get started before they're just thrown to the wolves.
Thank you very much. Mr. Carasilla, would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
What role do you think civility and respectful dialogue should play in how our town boards operate? And how would you personally model these values as first selectman?
Well, it seems like the last 2, 3, 4 weeks there's been problems with my board, the Board of Selectmen. Civility is not there. You have the residents come in during public comment, and some are not being civil. Some are a little rude, a little harsh, and you try to take control of the meetings, but you have to give, if you have public comment on the agenda, you have to let people speak. But, you know, all boards should be working in a civil manner. All boards, members should be, you know, coached on what's happening within the board. Hopefully people that don't want to be on a board go to meetings and learn what's happening on the board and see how a board is being run before they even run for office. You know, this is a small town and everybody does have to be civil and you know, work in a nice manner. Thank you.
All right. We have 30 seconds left for Mr. Carasillo. And we have 4 minutes, 41 seconds for Mr. Raquel. So I'm gonna, this question goes to Mr. Carasillo. It's a quick one. It's a quick one. Just in case, I picked a quick one for you. All right. If you secure enough votes to get a seat on the board, but not as first selectman, would you serve?
Yes.
All right. Question goes to Mr. Raquel.
Yes.
Okay.
I have 4 minutes and 40 seconds.
2 seconds. All right. Next question goes to you, Mr. Raquel. Talk as long as you would like. What educational, volunteer, civic, or work/career experience do you feel has helped best prepare you for the role of first selectman?
I think basically my career in construction, going back over 30 years now, I've managed teams of people up to over 100 people, large construction budgets up to, you know, millions of dollars of construction budgets. Anybody who's familiar with the construction industry knows it can be kind of a tough industry, right? So, but I've been very successful in dealing with not only my employees, in leading those people in teams of, you know, project goals and job site safety and team building and production and profitability of the companies that I work for in my own company, but also with the general contractors and stuff that we work for, and being able to meet tight deadlines, tough budgets, tough personalities on job sites, tough personalities in offices or boardrooms or whatever, dealing with budgets and being over or under budget or completing projects on time. The time constraints on construction projects these days are astronomical. And I've been very successful at that. I've been successful in leading, like I said, both my employees and bringing jobs to fruition with other teams of subcontractors and contractors and stuff to bring those things under budget. And again, it all goes back to basic, my management skills and leadership skills with people, just people in general. And that's what I think what I bring to the table that would be most effective going forward as a first selectman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carasillo. Would you like me to repeat it? Or, okay. What educational, civic, volunteer, and/or work/career experience do you feel has best helped prepare you for the role of first selectman?
Well, the last 4 years gave me enough experience to run for first selectman again. I've been in charge to take care of and manage a $14 million budget for the last 4 years. So I think I did it quite well because we were able to, with the help of the Board of Finance, lower the mill rates for the last 3 years. So my experience as first selectman, I think, gives me the go-ahead.
Here, finish your sentence.
Like I said, sorry, I was thinking of the sign there. Just, you know, gives me the best opportunity and the town the best opportunity to have somebody that is experienced and, you know, on the job training, and that's about it since my time is up.
So Mr. Carasillo's time is up. So now I ask you, are you ready to move to the closing statement, Mr. Raquel, or is there another question you would like me to ask?
Well, but he won't get to answer, right?
He will not get to answer. He's out of time.
No, we'll go.
You're all good. Okay. So since Mr. Carasillo started with the opening statement, you will start with the closing statement. So you have 2 minutes. Tell us anything you want to say. You don't have to use up the whole 2 minutes. Any closing thoughts that you have?
Well, I think I laid out the case for why I wanted to be first selectman, and I think it's a strong case. I think again, fiscally, the bones of Goshen are good. I just think we have some issues in the tone, the attitude, the civility of Goshen. But I think it's also imperative that, you know, what does everybody want in a small town like Goshen? So we don't have a lot going on in Goshen, right? As far as, we don't have a lot of nightlife, we don't have a tremendous amount of restaurants, so typically people when they're younger, graduate from college, they move away, they want to live some type of a, you know, different, in a metropolitan setting or whatever. But then they want to come back for basically two reasons. They want to come back to a safe, welcoming, comfortable community where they can do pretty much what they feel like doing, and feel like they're going to be accepted and welcomed, and not have to worry about anything else except living their lives the way they want to live them. Number two, they want to have a successful education system in Region 20, right? Because that's what they come back here for. They come back for a safe community, come back for an education system that let their kids prosper. So in addition to that, I think it's imperative that we take Region 20, all the towns, the 4 towns together, take Region 20, everybody get pulling in the same direction and make that the most successful regionalization in the state of Connecticut. That's what the Connecticut is trying to do, is model regionalization across the state, right? So I think we should be the model of regionalization of Connecticut.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Carostillo?
Well, my closing statement is to tell everybody what I've been doing and what the first selectman's job is all about. You know, as first selectman, I am the CEO of the town. I'm the HR. I do all the hiring and firing. I'm the police chief. I take care of all the pistol permits and all the firearm records in town. I'm the highway supervisor. You know, I manage a $14 million budget. I'm certified. I took the classes to become a certified municipal employee. I'm the local traffic authority. I'm the local burning official that I had to take class on that. There is so much that the first selectman has to do just to become a first selectman within the first 2 months of all the classes you have to take and everything that you have to do to be official and to have the right credentials to give out a pistol permit or do a background check on somebody. I had to take all those classes and pass all those. The first six months were probably the toughest, because besides running the town, you're out there taking classes just to become a certified municipal official to do all this. A lot of people think it's only out there handshaking and kissing babies. Trust me, it isn't. I'm out there during the storms, during ice storms, rainstorms, everything. You know, to make sure your power is on, you know, when flooding's happening. I got 30 seconds. Well, let me tell you the good things we did. And, you know, when I got in office, the pandemic was here. I gave out 1,500 COVID test kits. I gave out 3,000 N95 masks. I got $1.5 million for the Woodridge Lake Bridge project. I got $500,000 for Public Works. I got $9,500 for the Friends. I got $35,000 for the EOC. I got $140,000 for the senior bus. I just applied for $100,000 for a preservation grant, and another $1 million to take care of the North Goshen grant. I am working hard for this town. I will continue to work hard for this town until November 4th, or in the future if I get reelected. And I hopefully get everybody's vote. Thank you very much.
All right. So first of all, I just want to say, you guys rocked it. You did so well as a respectful civil audience. You should give a hand for yourselves, because it's not easy to not react all night. I know there's a lot of strong emotions and feelings, and all of you just handled yourselves so superbly. So we really, really appreciate that show, and that democratic process in Goshen is alive and well. Yes. And thank you for Mr. Carostillo and Mr. Raquel for a wonderful, informative evening. Now you may applaud for yourself. Thank you. Thank you for our volunteers tonight: Denise Buckwell, Charlotte Jones Boyquist, Erica Hopsgang, Josephine Jones, Judy Armstrong, Faye Tway Grant, and Erin Strauss. If you have any further questions for our candidates, please hang around. They will be here. They will chat with you, answer any questions you have. Thank you very much. If you have friends who missed this tonight, we did record this on YouTube. It will be on YouTube. They can watch it at their leisure. And again, safe travels home. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.